Today we are going to work on our Aztec sun and moon design. We're going to use gold paint for the sun and blue for the moon. On the sun side we're going to use warm colors, and on the moon side we are going to use cool colors for our artwork. To start your art, you're going to center your circle into the middle of your paper, and you're going to use pencil, please, and trace around that circle. Once you get done with that, you're going to want to mark a spot on the top and the bottom where the middle of the circle is, because that's where your moon is going to start and where your moon is going to end. Now the moon shape is a little strange. It kind of curves around a little bit, so draw lightly in case you need to erase. It kind of curves in. It almost is like a W shape if you turn it to this side. It's kind of difficult to get it exactly the first time, so like I said, just draw lightly, that way you can erase if you need to. Once you have the sun and the moon done, you're going to choose a face for them. So you're going to choose one eyeball to go on the moon side. I'm just going to put a sleeping eye because, well, I'm usually asleep when the moon is out. And then on the other side, I'm going to add a different kind of eyeball, just like kind of like what we did in our Picassos not too long ago. Once I get the eyes done, let's see, I'm going to color this one in. Maybe put some eyelashes on the top. There we go. Then you're going to choose a mouth, and your mouth is going to go from one side to the other. So half on the moon and half on the sun. Then you're going to put Sharpie. You're going to trace this in Sharpie, and then you can add a background. You can do your background in pencil, or you can do it in Sharpie. Either one works. But I'm going to put a line down the center. That way I can have sun rays on one side of it, and then I'm going to follow the shape of the moon on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Sharpie. If you use Sharpie, just remember, you can't erase it. So if that's your choice, you may have to live with a mistake or two. I'm going to put my sun rays out, and I left nice big spaces for my patterns. And on this side, we're going to draw like a C around the moon, leaving another good big space for some patterns to go inside of there. I'm going to draw those. And it just kind of goes around the shape of the moon. And once you're done with that, what I want you to do is go ahead and paint the sun and the moon first. If you still have time, you can work on some Sharpie outlines, but just be careful not to touch the wet paint that you painted in the middle. Gold is a form of yellow, so that would be a warm color. So I'm going to go ahead and use beautiful gold paint to paint the sun side of my moon. I'm going to be as careful as I can. Now notice I'm going to be covering up some Sharpie a little bit so it's not as dark. But once that dries next week, I can go back over it with Sharpie so that I can see that Sharpie again. So even though I covered it up a little bit with my gold paint there on the top, like on the lashes, next week I can use my Sharpie and retrace it once it's all dry. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, being very, very careful. Little tiny places to paint. And if you, like I said, if you have time after that, we can go ahead and start adding some patterns. See right there, I'm going to go over that Sharpie next week. But let me get back to what I was just talking about. Patterns! Yes! You can add patterns into each one of them. Now go slowly, think about your patterns, and really put some effort into it. I'd like to hang up as many of these as I can. So you can use colored Sharpies, you can use colored pencils, you can use crayons, you can use all of them. I choose to use all of them. I love doing like stripes and lines in Sharpie. I like the crayons to color in a few spaces here and there. And then I like the colored pencil because sometimes I like to draw lightly with it and fill in some of the bigger spaces and then leave some to watercolor. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these in, and I just noticed, oh, I didn't use a warm color. I should have used orange there, and I totally grabbed purple. So go slow, pay attention to the colors you're using, and try to keep the blues, greens, and purples on the moon side and the reds, orange, and yellows on the sun side. Take your time, really think about your patterns. I'm giving you some examples that you can look at, too, to get some pattern ideas from. And once you're done with that, we will put them up and we will finish them next week when I get some watercolors out.